There's actually no doubt that growing up in a toxic background have deep and lasting effects on individual, how he or she views other people and even the world. How can you navigate the trauma of toxic background? This is today's live on Equa Television International. My name is Joyce Jakada. We're live on Facebook and YouTube at Equa Television International. Do well to join the conversation. You would like to share with us your experience, the trauma of toxic background. How were you able to reprogram yourself so that the impacts can be subdued? I'm not doing this alone. I have engineer Tony Jane Kali. Good
Happy
morning.
to be here, Joyce.
Good to have you. Prudence and Sambo Solomon. Good morning.
Good morning, Joyce.
Like it seems you all were reflecting on experiences, and I'm just so confident that we are going to be able to help someone out there. Because looking at the environment today and even looking at people's behaviors, you know how we always talk about attitudes and behaviors being impacted by context in which people grow up. I mean, there are adults today that you see how they hoard food or how that they even engage in petty things, and you're like, is it that you don't eat at home? But some of these attitudes were even born out from the background that people grew up. There's food in the house, but children are being denied of food. And then the person would have, for some children, they go to the point of even stealing just so that they can eat. And there are some that grew up in a home that there's no love. They've not experienced love, so they grew up not loving or not knowing how to express love. There are some that grew up in an environment that, like, they had a lot of negative experiences that has impacted on even their trust. When they are in a place, they're extra vigilant. They don't trust anybody because they just feel like, okay, where I came out from, how the experience has been, that's what I'm going to experience, like here. So I would just like you all to just give us your perspective about the trauma of toxic background. Maybe the toxic background and then the trauma that comes with it.
It's scriptural that a child has to be trained in a way that he should go. And I will always explain that scripture. The training is not for when the child is a child. Because the Bible says, train up a child in a way that he should go. So that when he grows, he will not depart. It's of utmost importance that children must have a proper or the proper upbringing. The proper upbringing. Some people grow up not knowing what respect is. Some people can have respect for food and not have respect for people. Some people can have respect for clothes and not have respect for even their parents. And if you start checking, it's not the fault of the child because the child was born empty. Every child was born empty to a very large extent. Then parents will pour into the children what their own parents also poured into them. So it's a generation of, handing over.
Button shift.
I give you what I have. I give you what I have. I give you what I have. Yesterday, I told my son, let's go and get gas for the gen. And he told me that he had a terrible dream about me. That people came to attack us at home. And he tried his best. He locked me up somewhere. But he was trying to look for an escape route for me. So he goes through the front door. And then the person attacking comes through the front door. Then he locks the door and runs to the back door, and the person is already there. So he was struggling, and he woke up and realized it was a dream. Do you know what he said? He said, Daddy, people are trying to get you, but I will not stop praying for you. I was shocked. I was driving, but I was like, is this my friend, my mate talking to me, or my son? So, but because I need to sound bigger than him, I told him, I said, if God allowed people, you wouldn't have met me. Because before you, they have been trying me. There are things my parents will say, my mom will tell me how this happened to me, how that happened to me, how this happened to me, how that happened to me. And when I started growing up, a lot of things happened to me. This topic is more like talking about our foundations as people. But till tomorrow, as old as I am, as old as my mother is, she tells me that I will not stop praying for you. Till tomorrow, she tells me that. And when I meet her friends, they will always tell me, yesterday your mother said we should pray for you and all that. And what else would I carry as her child besides what she has given me, even from the days of growing up? So you see, I told my son, I said, I have prayed, even though I'm not a perfect person. But I always pray. And I know that God answers all my prayers. And that is the reason why I'm having this conversation with you. If not, you wouldn't have met me. So in life, I was trying to tell him, in life, what is important is you know where you stand and you know your stance.
True.
And I told him, I said, since I was born, I've never, ever gone to a herbalist or a witch doctor. And I told him, he was watching this, he knows that this is true. I've never gone outside the way of the Lord to seek help. I have never. When I know that I have a God, that he knows that I am filled or I'm full of imperfections. But anytime I pray, he answers me. And then there is a song that I always sing. There is a God you cannot see, but he will pick you when you fall.
Yeah.
You can't see God, but he always picks you when you fall. And falling down means doing something against his own will, his own wish, his own desire. But he's always picking you. But I said to myself, if God can treat me that way, how much more a witch doctor that will say, bring goat, and the goat has a blemish on it. And you will fight with the person that is asking you to bring it. Because that sacrifice is not a pure sacrifice. It's not acceptable. But you see, God has treated me kindly, regardless of my wrongs, regardless of even when I was a sinner, regardless of everything, regardless of the decisions I make that they are opposite his word, regardless. We were at a program and somebody came to pray recently in Lafia. And he said, let us pray. Let's ask God for mercy before we start. Let's ask God for mercy. Even me, Joyce, I didn't see what he said. I never saw it the way he said it. He said that you're asking for mercy does not mean you have sinned. But you need his mercy to live.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, wow. It's so simple. I didn't think somebody can talk to me like that in Lafia. But you see, that my parents did not tell me that. But I have added it to my knowledge. And I will run with it. I will walk with it. I will live with it. So it has to be a deliberate effort that if you had parents that did not care about your upbringing, now that you have grown, at least you know what is right and what is wrong. What do? You become your own parent and you talk to yourself.
All right. Even though you've answered that question, but I'd like to throw this to
Is that why you're in a hurry to stop me? Are you running out of points?
No, not really. I'd like to ask Prudence this question as a lady, a young lady, and soon to be mommy.
Oh, she's
I'm
pregnant?
not aware.
She's pregnant?
I just said I'm not aware. I'm prophesying.
Okay.
Ah!
All right.
It's taken care of already.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
We didn't knew.
you knew when the time is right.
Naive people.
I mean, have you seen parents? Have you seen mothers talk to their children and it amazed you, or it made you think, is this person really the one that birthed this child? have you seen parents treat their children, use words that it baffles you? I mean, a young lady shared her experience, how her dad will always look at them. Like he had girls or girl childs, and he will always he just have prostitutes around. Or a child will come to his mother or his father and ask for something, and the father will just send the child away or deny the child of certain things that he or she knows that he is responsible for that. I mean, a story was told of a woman that will make one noodles, and then she has 5 children, just so that she can manage her money or whatsoever. She will make one noodles and pour pepper in it, so that the children will not be able to finish it, but rather they will keep taking water, and then later they will still come back to the noodles, and then she is free for that day. I say that's what she does to them. And then think about it, this era where people say the savior now is sweet potatoes. Some parents, morning, afternoon, night, the next day we move. And so even if the person has the means to do certain things for the child, but he or she denied, the excuse that my father did not do it for me. I've had a father say to his child that you people are even privileged. During our time, I trek from so place to so place. So there's nothing wrong with you doing same, even when he has the means to make life better for his child. Like, does it baffle you? And then, what do you make of such situations?
It's actually heartbreaking that a lot of people do this. My mom says something like, women of this generation are not prepared to have children, but they go around getting married, right? So you're getting married, and the probability of you having a child is high up there because it's expected of. And then you are not even prepared to raise the child that God is going to give you, but you go ahead and you put your hands into marriage. We talked about how we need to be prepared before we get into it. So already you are not prepared up there. And then 1 year into your marriage, you're already having a kid. In fact, for some people, without even getting married, they're already having a kid. That's not the issue we're discussing today. But you would find that this parent is not prepared in any way to raise that child. And because she's not even ready to raise that child, she lives her life nonchalantly. In the community where I live, just down from my house, a walkable distance, there was this lady who gave birth out of wedlock, and so she left the child with the grandmother, and some accident happened. It was rainy season, and the boy fell into a drainage and drowned. But what was baffling was not that the child drowned. It was how it seemingly looked like outwardly to people that this lady did not even care that she just lost a child. And some women do that with their children as they live, as they go about living their lives. I've seen how certain children are just littered, and some statements being told about them, they're just really unkept, and you begin to wonder, do they even have parents? So yes, we understand that you don't have the means, right? But even if you don't have the means, there's a way that you would show your child love, and the child will know that he is appreciated or he is loved, and this is he's valuable. But this mother does not even care where the child is. I heard of one, not heard of one, but people were having a conversation, and the woman was sitting amongst them, and then she said, and they asked, so where are the children? And she said, I have no idea. They are in the area. Yeah,
some even send the children away. Go and play. Go to so person's house.
And her children were not over 7. At least the oldest was about 7 or so, and she said something like that. What I thought of was how exactly do you expect this child to grow up and be someone tangible, valuable, worthy in a society when you have taught the child that he is worthless? A lot of times, young parents care less. What happens to the child, it doesn't matter. what really happens, what they really bother about is their own self. I know one that there will be no food in the house, but she will spend money on clothes.
Yeah.
Clothes. She cannot not have a new clothes, but there will be no food in the house.
There's this woman,
It's
that's
just-
partly what she does, is
it's
she will
just
use the money
disheartening.
for food, she will go and do makeup, and then she will go to a photo studio. Even to bath the children, she does not have time for that. But the money the father sends for food, part of it she will use it and go and do makeup and go photo shoot and post pictures on social media.
A goat cannot give birth to a lion. That
it's
is coming
baffling.
from somewhere.
It's
Hmm.
true.
That is coming from somewhere. You
It's true.
see, Joyce, you can't look at the way your mother raised you,
Mm.
the beating,
Mm.
the correctional facility that we lived in as young people, all the, the correctional
Honestly.
facility that we grew up in, and all of that, and then you grow up to see your child growing to be the opposite of who you are.
Honestly.
In whose house? In whose house? I give my children liberty, but I tell them you need to know God. Recently, I was somewhere with Hassan and we saw somebody with dreadlocks. I said, "Look at this guy. He doesn't have money. He locked his hair and he weaved it after locking." I say, if police come looking for the thief, they will join him. Even before you do a thing like that, get money, look good. When they see you, they know that this is a choice. It's not a trend for this person. It's a choice. But people just wake up and think, okay, what will this will look good on me? Let me do it. This will be good for my children. Let me give it to them. This will be you. People don't care. The oldest you have is 7, and you are telling them they can go out and be with whoever you don't know. So what you did not put in them is okay for others to put whatever it is. You see, when we don't teach our children and we let them learn, they will learn, but they will not learn the right
The
thing.
right thing.
You see this sex. Your parents will think, as a mother, why will I sit down with Joyce and be talking sex with her? When she grows up, she will learn it.
Yeah,
And
read
that's
the
wh-
knife.
And that's when you go and meet Linda. And Linda will teach you sex, but she'll teach you the wrong things about it. The wrong things about it. Nobody cares whether there should be a right person for this thing to be done with. No. When you need it, me, when I need it, I just call anybody. They there and be thinking Bible, church, and all that. You cheat yourself. You grow up and marry and know that you didn't even live life to the fullest. Your mother failed to do it. Somebody is wrongly doing it to you. And because you have no other information, you grow up thinking the message that Linda gave you is the right thing. A lot of us had to delete, erase, and forget completely what friends taught us, especially me when I was growing up.
Okay, talking about the role of parents, I would like to get Sambo Solomon's perspective on this.
The prof.
Yeah, when he comes from all angles, scholarly, theological, and all of that. I mean, in talking about toxicity, now when you talk about parents, they play key role, and some of them do that unknowingly.
Yeah.
Because they just look at their own benefits. They don't look at the child and his or her future. Think about a mother telling a child, if your father comes back, tell him that you did not eat since morning, or before he comes, make sure you wash the plate, clean everything, look certain ways so that your dad will, or she will pay school fees and then tell your father, I did not pay, you were sent away from school. Or perhaps the mother now would, or the father probably, because some parents do this, they cause siblings rivalry. Oh, you are better than this person. I prefer you. You are sharper. They even speak it to the child. You, even your younger brother is sharper than you. They keep speaking that to the child. You are not good enough. You are not worthy enough. You are dull. The child will come from school, bring his result. The parent will insult him. I'm just wasting my, we are a wasted investment and all of that. And particularly, and more worrisome is the story. This is something I discovered because at some point I had to take some years to teach And I started with a class, primary 1, and then I noticed a pattern with a particular child. So we got discussing, or I engaged them in storytelling and all of that. And this particular girl, 6 years, was very excited, and she came and met me and said, I have watched it before, or I have done this before. And I called her close. We started talking. And I asked her certain question because, okay, a child reported her that she said a word. You know how children can, hey, you said this. And she reported, and I called her, where did you learn this from? And she said she used to watch it on the TV. Watch it. Who tuned to that station for you? Talking about sex.
Knowing fully well there's a child.
Yes. So who tuned to that channel to you, and how did you? First, she said I said that her mom. I said no, like she should be open and tell me the truth. If she lied, this is the danger and all of that. So she told me that each time they returned from school, there were just 2 children, her and her older brother, who is in primary 3. He is around 10 years. That when they get back home, they tuned to this channel and they watched certain movies, and in the movies there are sex scenes and all of that. And so after watching, her and her older brother will engage in that. So I said, is she sure of this? And she said yes. And I called the brother. I went to meet the brother separately, and we got talking, and I asked him too, do you know about this? And he said no, because of course he's smarter than I. Said no, and I said he needs to say the truth, because if he doesn't, this is the implication. And he said, Miss Joyce, I don't want this to happen to me. That I said, okay, say the truth. What happened? How did you know about this? And he mentioned that sometimes they tune into certain station and they watched, and then, so have you done this before? He said yes. With who? And he said with his sister. So where did you learn it from? He said they sleep in the same room with the mother, with the parents. And so they see their parents doing this. And so in the morning, the parent go for business and they come back at night. So just when they are if they are going out in the morning, they just drop them in school and they go. When the children close, they go back home themselves. And so I asked them, and they said each time they return from school, they watch this station. And even without watching, because they have watched their parents do that service, so they engage. How long have you been doing this? They cannot even count. Like, I was broken that children at that age, 6 and 10, siblings, like engage in that kind of activities. I talk about parents doing certain things without knowing the implication. They just look at the benefit to themselves. Like, what do you make of this?
It will even shock you that when you confront the parent, they will tell you, what is your business? They are our children. It will shock you.
It's true.
It will shock you.
It's true. You see, he said something. He said, when Engineer Tony said, it's a button shift. So you look at the parents' background. So, like, where are they coming from? What is their background? You see, human beings, naturally, we are selfish. But when it comes to children, we should know that we are just custodians. We fail to know that. Most parents don't know that. Because we just think the woman has eggs and the man has sperm. They just meet randomly any day, any time, and then you bring out rubbish. That's not God's idea. Because God's idea, when he said Adam and Eve go and multiply, from creation, if you look at it, God would have just decided to just create an irresponsible person. Yes, he has the capacity, because he will not ask anybody. But he created a responsible person, and he gave him a work, and he was doing that diligently. That's the idea of God.
Until the woman showed up.
Until the woman shows up. But even though, wait now.
Let him learn.
Wait now.
If not for the woman, would have been hearing Mr. Sambo with Mr. Hassan. That's what you would have preferred.
Like you, eh? I know where she's going.
Where I got that from, right? In the when you go to sleep, you wear strips now.
But
That's what you are saying. Women, not until women came.
women are wonderful people.
Better.
And then
How?
sorry,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So you see, what am I trying to say? You know, he said, "Go and multiply."
Mm.
He's trying to see the replica of what he created, you know, everywhere. That's his own idea. But even when man failed, right? He didn't stop at that. That's the reason why he keep on bringing solutions on how to reconcile man and tell him this is the original idea. Until Jesus came, and then through him to whosoever believes. What am I trying to say? When you see, I talk about parenting here, like every time I talk about the source, the foundation, it's very key. It's very important. You see, even this, you saying you want to be a father, you want to be a mother, doesn't just start when you are the Hausa people will say when you balaga.
So I saw a
Like,
post that once
when
the
you're-
lady tell you I want to hold your child, run. Run.
Yes, now because
I want to carry your
the
baby.
question is that why? That's the question you ask. Why? Some will just tell you look handsome.
I
and
love you. I want to be
and
see your face.
some will just say you look handsome. I just want to have your replica. Is that enough?
You know, I
you-
actually saw a meme that said something like, you look like my future children. And you say, you've not had the children yet, so how do I look like them? But this is the thing, right? A lot of times that's why certain people become parents. Because, so this man
What a
is
reason.
Not a reason.
handsome, so let me have a child that looks like him. And when I see him, it's like a pleasure looking at the child.
Whether the man is an armed robber, is a kidnapper.
They really don't
They
care.
don't care. They
And
don't care.
and another error that a lot of parents make, especially fathers, I'm very specific about this one. They will say something like, it's her job, let her train them, right? But if you have been following this show, and not just this show, but really responsible men, you would hear that they are fully involved in the raising of their children. And when you have if you have a family where both parents are fully involved in raising the child, like Solomon said, you are a custodian of that child. If the two of you are fully involved, what I do not see, the father would see. And what the father doesn't see, I would see. And we'll be able to rectify those issues before they get to a point where you cannot bend them. But you see, a lot of times negligence is found in families. And we are talking about toxic environments, toxic families that children grow up with, and how it affects them. Negligence is one of the key reasons for the vices that we see in our world today. Negligence is what pushes a lot of ladies to prostitution. Negligence is what pushes a lot of guys to drugs. Negligence does massive...
Ladies do drugs more than men.
I was going to say that although ladies hide
Statistically,
theirs,
that's
they
it.
hide theirs, so it is not easy to address. But for men, they do it like outrightly. And it's the same way with male prostitutes, because male prostitutes will hide themselves. Female prostitutes are out there. Exactly. So, but the point is that negligence has a major role to play in these vices. And because we have not addressed these things from the childhood, from when the child is curious, because children are very curious. We were having a conversation one time with a colleague, and she said that she before she came here, she was in a school, and she was talking to some kids, two of them, and she was doing after school lessons for them, and one of them said he had silly dreams. And he said, what are the silly dreams? That he saw naked dolls. And she says, naked dolls? What are naked dolls? What naked dolls? that so since he saw naked dolls, maybe they should pray against it. And he said, no, he loves having silly dreams. And you're not going to start addressing it from this time when the child is just curious, and you let it grow until he becomes promiscuous, and you're saying, where did I go wrong? Why is my child like this? When you did not address it when the child was curious. You say things like, mostly is in Hausa they used to say, "Kubar shi yaro ne." Leave him, he's a child, he does not know what he's doing. But if you don't correct him from now, that is what he would grow
It's
up
just
with.
like instances where a child will come into a place, there are people seated, and then one person is saying greet now, and the parent is saying is a child, like leave him, and the child grows up being disrespectful, and you are saying, no, it's not my fault, it is the environment. But you see, most of the vices we talk about, like, they are all born out of toxic environments or background. Now talk about drug addiction, prostitution, corruption, theft, like the list is just endless. Now all these are tied to even the behaviors that we see people put out there today: selfishness, greediness, disrespect. Like all of these things are born out of their context, that their background. Some of them grew up and you see nothing wrong with that. Recently I was talking with you how somebody behaves, and I was like, I excuse the person's behavior, like personally, because of where the person earlier, like I pick on that, like, why would you do this? And I was like, I later understood that it has more to do with where the person is actually coming from. But then, you know, that you are coming from that, should it be your lifestyle? Like, should you continue? We're talking about the trauma now in today's life. Some people that grew up like from those environments that we have highlighted, it has impacted on their life even as adults. At workplace, you see it showing up. Exactly. Even in marriages, you see it showing up. Partners being selfish, being greedy, all because of where they're actually coming from. Some of them, even as they are preparing to get married, their parents will tell them, don't be a fool. They don't do this. So like they carry it along and live with it. How do you re-strategize or reprogram yourself?
Just
having
because
grown
just
in
because
such
your husband does not have brain in his head does not mean every other man is like your husband. For you to go out and say, "Ba go enemiji." Meanwhile, some people are wearing the enemiji and they are enjoying it.
Or a man living well with his wife and they say, "Kemiji hajia."
Do you understand? There are things that I can do to my wife and say it proudly. You'd be like, no, she's supposed to do it. I say, okay. You and your wife can do it that way, but me, I will do it. You understand? And there are certain things you come, I tell you, I can't do it. It's just what I believe. It's not because somebody taught me. No. Why would you come to my house and see me cooking? Can I cook? Yes. If my wife is there to cook, why would I go and cook? Just so that I will just show people that I'm caring and all that. What if caring that's not what caring means to her? Do you understand? Some people feel
that's what she loves doing.
Some people feel you let your wife drive and you sit in the car. Is that not wrong? What if your wife loves driving more than you? What if driving gives her joy? More than seeing you drive?
Yes.
Honestly.
You see, it's different strokes for different folks. Joyce, this toxicity that we are talking about, it does not just start from the home. Because there is a point, or there was a point that you left home. You were more outside than you were in the home. What were you learning then? And even right now that you are already a full-blown adult, when you sit with your friends, what do you discuss? I was with my cousin yesterday. He moved out of his area where he was living to a new location, and a lady sent him a text to say she's happy that he's no more in the area, that now she's free to do whatever she wants to do it. So he showed me the text on his phone yesterday, and I was like, what was your response? He doesn't even call me bro. He calls me Baba. He said, Baba, I don't even know what to tell her. I said, it's like you like it. That's why you have not responded. They sent you a message 3 days ago, and the message does not have a reply. He said, doesn't know. I said, give me your phone. Then I responded. The message that came back disregarded the response. This is a scenario. You have been looking at this man that is married to this woman, but you can't do anything because you live close by. This woman knows you. You know the woman. You have been eyeing her husband. She doesn't know. He is aware partially. He just thought maybe neighborhood. You understand? And then suddenly you are asking him to do terrible things with him sexually because he's no more in the area with you. So now you feel free to do that. And he's replying you to say, this is wrong. It's against what I believe. I can never do that as a Christian. And blah, blah, blah. And then your next reply is, I have a friend that 3 of us can do it. Disregarding his own reply. So I told him, I said, this one, you can't have a chit chat with this one. You can't keep talking back and forth with this one. The best thing is to discard this one completely in your life. He said that was why he decided, that's why he did not respond. It is not enough, Joyce, to be morally sound. It's not enough. You have to have a tenacity. You have to have the stubbornness. You have to have the willpower to remain morally right or stand morally. Because when you just want to be moral, you want to have good morals rather. There are situations that will present themselves to you that are bigger than the morality you have. You'll be like, me, married woman, God forbid. I can never do that. And then the next thing, you see a text. I have a car I'm not using. I want to give it to you. The Lord has done it finally. And then you start celebrating, not knowing the intention behind giving you that car. And when you don't find out, that time, that mere morality that you have will cease to exist. You will exist. You will rush for that vehicle. And when you collect the vehicle, certain demands will start coming. And you can't give the vehicle back. What will I tell people? So, Joyce, it is important that you know that even now that you have grown, that moral standing that you have is just a foundation.
Sure.
It's just a foundation. You must grow it to the level that you keep saying no stubbornly. Is there any word like that? Stubbornly. You keep saying no stubbornly to circumstances and situations. If not, you'll be coming back to say, God, forgive me every day because it was mere moral standing.
You know, earlier on we're talking about how that it goes beyond being
Deliberate.
or even being intentional.
Sure.
Like a lot of effort is actually required. But having grown in that, so that we don't keep pointing back at our foundation. It's not my fault. It's where I'm coming from. How can you redefine your story and build resilience?
You know, Joyce, there's one thing that Jesus Christ said to people, right? If your left hand will cause you to lose heaven, cut it off, right? And
until today, everybody has their full body
Nobody
parts.
has cut anything. That's figurative.
Exactly. A lot of what Jesus was talking about.
Before somebody will go and cut his hand before the
We
end
all
of the
have
show.
our full body parts till tomorrow, as if there is no part that is going to be harmful to us.
A lot of times Jesus says figurative things, right? And because he says figurative things, we tend to water them down and we don't see the importance of what he says. So this is what Jesus Christ is saying, right? If the company that you keep would cause you to lose heaven, drop them behind and wakago to the front, no looking back. It is a huge deal to let go of company that you've known forever. It is a huge deal to cut off friends that you grew up with. No, Joyce, you will bear me witness that there are friends of yours that you grew up with that today you cannot sit down and have a conversation with them because your values are no longer the same. It is very important that you do that. So long as you found out that what I am doing is actually not right, take extreme measures to leave them.
Extreme.
And I'm deliberate about the word extreme because people would think you're crazy.
Turanchi.
I remember telling my mom.
Chikamu, extreme measures. I would deliberately extreme measures.
I remember telling my mom, confronting my mom one time and saying, "You see," I said, "See, my sister just called me and said you call this one, call this one, call." I said, at this stage, we are the ones that are supposed to be calling you people and complaining. People are calling and disturbing people. You don't know that people have individual. So she was so shocked first. I said, see, if you people continue, I will leave this house. This environment is toxic. My mom looked at me and said, "Eh?
You were working here then?"
Did I?
Eh?
You wanted to go and
No, it's
lock
just
the
a
gate
question.
for me today,
It's
so
just
I
a
will not
question.
enter the house.
It's just a question. When you did that, you were a staff here. Okay.
So I said,
Today's life trained you to go and exercise your powers in the wrong place. You will soon be homeless.
when I
I'm
said
telling
that,
you.
did I call anybody? That it's not me. I didn't call it. I didn't say anything. Me, I don't even used to. I said okay, but talking about taking extreme, like ordinarily, I shouldn't even mention that. But for them to hear that, it means, I need to adjust if I really want my child to still be in this house, because I was really clear about that point, that if this happen again, or if like there's any scenario that looks like this, I said people are dealing with a lot of things. You cannot come and compound. So you have to be deliberate about finding a way to ease, not to add up. But if you do this, so just like you say, even if it's company that you have, let them know who you are and where you stand. Like, you don't have to compromise. So if I do this now, my friends will feel bad, or they'll think I too do. But you need to be very intentional about your decision and to stand by it.
The problem, Joyce, is that we talk about what Jesus said, that if your hand would cause you to lose heaven, cut it off. People still want their body part intact.
Yes, that.
And they still want heaven.
And they still do the wrong things.
And they still do the wrong
And the
thing.
body part is still making them do wrong things.
Do you understand? Do you understand? So like she said, you have to be extremely deliberate, because in this case you can't just, because he mentioned morality, mere morality, that for us to succeed you have to do extra. And in this life, like we talk about work, if you want to be different, if you want to stand out, you have to do extra. This world is all about doing extra if you want to stand out. It's just that you can't just be comfortable where you are and you think that's just where, that's the threshold for the world. No. Like we keep saying, the world keep evolving. Things keep happening. Like even in your spirituality, I remember on this set we were talking and you said, you mentioned something about marital life, and you are like, every generation come with its own peculiarity. You understand? These things that we are saying, some we can excuse our parent. Honestly, some things that they impacted in us, they were totally ignorant of it. Yes, it's just that it is now that they are seeing the effect, and some of them they are too no, not pompous, traditional. Yeah, maybe that's the mild whatever. That they can just outrightly come and say, pertaining this thing, we're sorry, we lead you the wrong way. Some they cannot honor because they feel they give birth to you. Like, you see, we need to write off certain things that we know it was wrong. Why? Because you said you have to parent yourself. And I love that.
True.
But by doing that, you just have to man up.
If you know what, if you have positive materials for parenting yourself,
that is it. Because manning up is like, one, it may need you cutting off your friends that you think they are your entirety. Because some of us were just living in illusion.
You'll
and
be
you just
insulted
feel
and you decide
you're-
that no problem.
no problem.
Yes.
Simply because you have one or two things. That's the reason why I made that example. You still want to make heaven, but you still want to indulge in sin. It's not possible. You just have to be, even you to pull yourself from certain pleasure of sin, you just have to be extra. That's why even the spirituality is realm. It's REM. You have to keep moving. You can't just stop in one place because the devil know there is no time and the world is keep evolving. He always bring things that will entice you.
Exactly.
So you just have to keep you keep upgrading. You keep upgrading and then be above that where you are by studying, having constant fellowship with your God. What is God saying concerning you? What are those things that you are discovering by revelation, by you studying your word and what God is saying concerning you, and then you just see yourself that you stay too long in that particular realm, which you need to move. These are some of the things, because like for me, there are certain things. Like for me, I told my mom, I said, you give birth to me. Remember, it's not a right. You are just privileged. God choose you to give birth to me. Sometimes our parents don't want to hear this bitter truth, and we have to say it with love.
It depends on what brought
let them understand.
conversation.
Yes, because sometimes
If it's during Christmas, everybody is eating chicken, it will not be a problem. But if there is an issue, you brought that insult on injury. Is insult on injury?
You see, the reason why I'm saying this, honestly, we just have to be deliberate.
Yeah.
And these are some of the things, because some of our parents, if you know certain truths that they don't know, put it to them. Let them know.
If you go against
Because
my wish, I'll remove breast and swear for you.
I told her.
It will not work.
I told her. I said,
I have a covenant with God.
I said,
That's a higher power.
That's the point I'm going.
Because how do you do
Because-
that? It's somebody who might be. There are people that were forced to take certain decisions because their parents were held bent on you must do it this way, even after being exposed to the right thing. You're talking about parenting yourself, even when your parents are alive.
See,
Raising yourself. So what if you have threats like this? If you try this, I'm going to curse you.
Joy.
You know how African
But
parents.
we don't live
it's
under
hard.
the law. We don't
It's
live under
hard.
the law. It's a dispensation of grace. Even you that is trying to curse, God is also not happy with you for doing
For
certain
doing
that
things.
is it. And
You
so-
see, you took decisions as a parent. Just because you think you are an adult does not mean every decision of yours is automatically right.
You know,
Yeah.
concerning your child, they feel it's, hey,
My mother does not think I am an adult. She doesn't think I have children.
So recently,
My mother took me out one day in front of Solo. I was like, this woman does not know Solo. She took me. So when we finished, we were in the car. He was trying to console you. He was saying, Oga, that's how my mother used to take me. I say, you think I'm worried? I'm not worried. No, I'm used to it. When you know you have done the wrong one, say you are sorry.
Say you're sorry.
Move on. When you know you have done the right thing and then they are chastising you for doing the wrong thing, you know you're on the right path and you are convinced it's right. You do more of that.
That's it. Because you have to, honestly, you have to come as a family and agree with certain things. And then our parents have to, the reason why I'm making this point, sir, our parents have to understand with us that even our own generation has changed. It's not as, everything is not as obtainable as.
That means even us, we are not having it easy.
We are not having it easy. And then you can see, because you will hear parents like threatening their children.
yes.
Threatening their children. I gave birth to you at 9 months. I've done this, I've done that. So you will see certain things that they are wrong, they are not obtainable, but they want you to go that part. And then you are trying to explain to
Your
them.
mother
and
will
they are
borrow
saying,
money from you.
will
You
tell me
ask for
what
the
to do.
money.
I'm
She
your
said she
mother.
carried you
and
9
you-
months.
Yes.
How did you pay her?
you see, I've actually heard someone saying something like this. So this child goes through a very bad relationship, and then she's like, I'm going to break up with this guy. I'm not going to marry him. And then the mother is saying, what is wrong with him? He has always been coming to the house and everything. Harankaizai, Ankao, Kaji, and all that. Ankageswa, like first introduction, right? And then the girl is saying no, she's going to break up. And the mother is saying, do you want to embarrass me? You it's me that carried you 9 months. You want to embarrass me?
In
And
other
this
words, stay in that prison,
Yes.
regardless of how you
Yes.
feel.
And
But
this
even when
child-
you have the choice to walk away,
Yes.
why?
Some
A
parents
lot of
are
mothers.
really, really, really. I don't have the words to actually say it. But you see something. He said something that is very important. If you know that you're doing the right thing, this is another thing that you have to know, that your sense of right is really right. Because some people's sense of right is very sketchy. But no, we're talking about really doing the right thing. Even
The
when
right thing means the way of the Lord.
yes, the way of the Lord. even when they issue these threats, God gives us a way out. And this is what God does, right?
I will not pay your school fees again.
Me,
Go
the
and
one
look
they
for
paid, I chopped it. My school fees 1 whole year with PT and everything was
Please don't eat your school fees.
was 120 naira. I went to the school, I paid first term. I squandered the rest. My friends were like, how will you pay? I said, is it not me? They will enter the second time. They will say, you will not write exam. I will beg. I will write exam. I will pass. We will not promote you. I will beg. I will enter the next class. First time will come and meet me again. They will give me.
Please don't try that.
Don't do it.
Don't. This era.
In this era,
You see, when you talk about generation, when I was in school, there were no things like now that will make me eat fees. But I ate my fees then. Bad company. And the friends that I have, they were out of school. Me that was in school, they were telling me, let's spend this money. And I did. So you see, when I said earlier that if the hand of God was not upon my head, I don't know what I would have become. I wouldn't even be alive. The things that I have tried in this my life, if I tell you one, you may not even be alive. Just to tell you. I'm telling you.
Not
So
to try
this
it.
is, you see, this is
One day I will testify.
this is what I was trying to say. So a lot of times we
closing.
tend to, yes, that this is my last thought, sir. So a lot of times we tend to do things without actually thinking them through. But if you really want to break out from the trauma of your background, you have to take extreme measures. You have to go against the odds. Against the odds is that it might look like things will be bleak for you. It might, for somebody that I know, it was that she said she was going to be a Christian and the parents said, from today I have nothing to do with you. And this girl went through life under the bridge, inside the rain, under the sun. And at the end of the day, she was glowing. And when she became a better person, the same parents that said they had nothing to do with her were looking for her. This is one thing. If you know that you're going down the right path, do it with the whole of your heart. Because it's like Jesus said, you cannot put your hand on the plow and look back, because you would cause for yourself a huge accident. So it's very important that you stay focused. And that's another thing, very focused.
Thank you so much. It's been an amazing discussion. Amazing discussion. Thank you, Engineer Tony. Thank you, Prudence. Thank you, Sam.
Looks like the
Always a
topic is not exhausted.
I really feel like we did not
Thank
do
you.
anything.
Honestly.
Our viewers out there, we really hope that you learned something. I don't know the trauma you're going through coming from a toxic background, but this is the good news. You can re-strategize. You can redefine your story. You can re-raise yourself. Don't let the trauma of toxic background hold you down and just keep you stagnated. If you need a therapist, go for. If you need a psychologist, please go for. If you need help from a counselor or your pastor, please consult one so that you don't stay stagnated. Jesus loves you and he wants you to grow and excel in whatever you do, your relationship with people around you and even with the world. So thank you for doing this with us. We hope to be back tomorrow to talk about relationship. Don't miss out. Share the link with people and ensure that they are blessed by this discussion. Equa Executive, we're grateful for this platform. Thank you, our supporters. Thank you for all of you that followed Equa Television International. We'll come your way tomorrow, same time. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.